guys, welcome to the We Need to Calm Down podcast. I'm Devon.
And I'm in pain.
And this is the show where we talk about all things Taylor Swift.
Ow.
So for those of you who are listening to the podcast and not watching our audio, Joe is in a cast?
A sling. It's not a cast yet. It's too fresh. It might be a cast. By the end of this week, it might be a cast.
Do you wanna explain what happened, Joe?
So, Devon, one day I was riding on my skateboard and I broke my freaking arm. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I tried to pick up a new hobby because I'm bored. I want to go out and I wanted a way to like mildly get in shape without doing real exercise.
Okay.
And I used to skateboard when I was a kid, and I was like, oh, that sounds like pretty cool. And then a couple of my friends were like, oh, we'd love to do it. And I'm like, sweet, yeah. I have a crew to like go out and like look like an idiot with and maybe get hurt. And then I did. So I went out yesterday. It's the worst story. I thought it was canceled. I thought my friend was like, yeah, I have to get my oil changed, so I might not be able to make it. I'm like, oh, that's whatever. I'm helping my mom around the house. Then he texted me, all right, I'm good. When do you want to go? I drove an hour to a skate park out in a place called Pottstown. It was tiny, like not even worth it.
Like for children?
Not like it was for children. It was just there's nothing cool.
Okay.
It was just like a couple of ramps, one like ramp that like comes down into like a box that like just like drop off like a curb. And I was like, oh, this would be great. I can practice riding off a curb because I've never done that before. And I've watched like videos on how to do it. And I'm like, I think I can do this. And the way you're supposed to do it is you're supposed to like, I don't know if you know what a manual is, but like basically wheelie off of it. So I wheelie off of it, land on my back two wheels, not the front two wheels. The skateboard slides out. It gets really bad. Skateboard slides out from underneath me, land on my arm. Ow, that hurts. Ow, that really hurts. Wow, I can't twist my arm. Oh, whatever. I probably like dislocated it or whatever. Like hang around. It's really hot. This was 5 minutes into me getting there. I drove an hour for 5 minutes of skateboarding. So I talked to my friend who's like there. He's like riding around, and I'm like, if it's dislocated, can you like pull on it and see if you can relocate it? So my friend starts pulling on he pulled on my arm 3 times, like hard with both hands. No, it didn't fix it. It didn't hurt it more, but it didn't fix it. Drove home an hour with one arm. Sat at home, put it on ice, and was like, this is weird. Called my friend who's a physical therapist and like FaceTimed her, showed her everything that was going on. And she goes, you should go to urgent care. Like it doesn't sound like a fracture because it doesn't hurt when you touch it, but I would go to urgent care. Went to urgent care, sat in my car for 2 hours. It was a 2-hour wait to get told that it was a fracture on my elbow. The worst part is I did bring with me knee, elbow, and wrist pads. I put on the knee pads because I was like, well, if I fall on my knees, I don't want to scrape up my knees. But that's good enough. And I didn't put on the elbow pads. So just a word for you kids. You don't have to look cool. Also, there was no one else at the skate park, so I didn't need to look cool for anyone. Like, it was just the stupidest thing. And now I know how James feels, and I'm in pain a lot. Full disclosure, I'm going on, let's see, what time is it? 3:47. I've been awake for 34 hours because I couldn't sleep last night because I wasn't in so much pain. I was in just enough pain that I couldn't fall asleep. So that's where I'm at.
That is the most Joe thing to happen to you.
So luckily, I can still record because I got this nice new mic and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Taylor is so gracious to continuously provide us with new content. Even after we've already recorded this week's episode, we now have to bump it back even farther to pounce on this new interesting thing that she's left for us. And I will make one quick addendum. As you can see, my arm is hurt, as if you didn't listen for the last 15 minutes. And I'm the one that edits the audio for this podcast. it might be a little bit worse than usual because
Oh my
because
God.
I'm not dedicating all the time it takes to edit this podcast with one arm. It would take forever. So please forgive us if we have a little bit more crosstalk or anything else going on. We'll try to keep it to a minimum. So Devin, what are we talking about on this typical Tuesday night?
Well, today we will be discussing Folklore's Escapism chapter. What? There's chapters? We're just as confused as you are. So, let me give a quick little intro. So, on Friday, August 21st, Taylor Swift decided that she would continue to be the queen of the post release marketing strategy and tweeted out the following. She said, "In my head, the songs on Folklore fit perfectly together in different groups and chapters based on how they fit together thematically. I want to share the first one today. Here's Folklore, the Escapism chapter." And then she released the Spotify, I don't know if it's a playlist, a single, an album. It's classified as weird things on the app, but it's basically just a list of the songs in a specific order, and there's 6 of them. So this is the first time that Taylor has admitted that the songs are semi-connected besides the Teenage Love Triangle trilogy, which is very exciting.
Well, yeah, that's insane. Like, I'm also very upset that we didn't catch it.
I mean, there
Not
was
that-
what?
I was gonna say, not that like there was clamoring on the subreddit or anything like that where people were calling this out before us. So it's not like we would have caught it more than anyone else did. But the speculation.
There was a whole Reddit theory from T Swift Conspiracist 13 that all of the songs in the album were actually connected and tell one giant story. So the fact that Taylor's confirming that there's chapters is kind of interesting.
That's that. I mean, that lends credence to that theory too.
So
This one's so interesting. Oh my god! I'm sorry. Let's go into it.
okay. So just for clarification purposes, the actual definition of escapism is the tendency to seek distraction and relief from unpleasant realities, especially by seeking entertainment or engaging in fantasy, which immediately makes sense for the songs that we're about to discuss. Okay, I didn't know if you wanted to comment. Okay.
No, I'm sorry.
What was released? So the Spotify release consists of the following 6 songs in the following order. So we have The Lakes, 7, Epiphany, Cardigan, Mirror Ball, and Exile. So there's 11 songs left that haven't been categorized, including The One, The Last Great American Dynasty, My Tears Ricochet, August, This Is Me Trying, Illicit Affairs, Invisible Woman, Mad Woman. Oh, wait. Did I say Invisible Woman?
Did you say invisible?
Invisible String, Mad Woman, Betty, Peace, and Hoax.
Oh, I love that song, Invisible Woman. It's Lenny Kravitz. Invisible Woman. That's not that song.
American Woman, but okay.
I'm on drugs. This fascinates me a lot because you point this out, that they're in a specific order. They're not in, like, the order should go, if I'm right, Cardigan, Exile, Mirror Ball, 7, Epiphany, The Lakes, right? Like, that's the order they appear on the record. So why are they in this order?
Your guess
Come
is as
on,
good
Devin.
as mine.
We're supposed to speculate.
Well, we'll get into that. So the internet blew up trying to analyze what it meant, if there's other chapters that are going to be released, which I'm assuming so. So what the other chapters could be, why is it in this order, etc. A million different questions. So with Folklore, the Escapism chapter, how each song relates to the concept of escapism. So remember, escapism isn't just escaping. Technically, it's the tendency to seek distraction and relief from unpleasant realities, especially by seeking entertainment or engaging in fantasy. So the first song we have is The Lakes. The concept, you can argue, for the song is escaping society and judgment, escaping with your lover, escaping that reality. So some of the lyrics that I pulled out that could relate to this is, "I'm not cut out for all these cynical clones, these hunters with cell phones. Take me to the lakes where all the poets went to die. I don't belong, and my beloved, neither do you. I'm setting off, but not without my muse." And then she goes, "I want aurores and sad prose." She wants all these distractions that will, distract her from reality.
I like there was another theory I saw about this that said this one was also escaping from social media,
Mm,
which I think hits like the phones and what's a rose grew from frozen ground with no one around to tweet it.
yeah.
Um, I think that's fascinating. I think that's a good one. I think of all people, Taylor is the one that would use that and draw
Hmm.
from that experience. Um, I love also the one line in this song that I always gets me is those Windermere Peaks look like the perfect place to cry. Um, and for some reason that just takes me away of like just I almost made my background for this one the Windermere Peaks because like
Mm,
that's just such a cool concept and like I just love the idea of I would love to cry there one day. like what an aspiration and to get away from everything just to cry about something.
yeah.
Ah, I've I relate so hard.
Then we go into the second song, Seven. So the concept being either escaping from a rough family situation, your childhood fears, escaping the present by retrieving into your past, escaping into a memory, escaping into time. Um, so the lyrics that can come with that is your dad's always mad and that must be why. I think you should come live with me and we can be pirates. Then you won't have to cry or hide in the closet. And just like a folk song, our love will be passed on. And though I can't recall your face, I still got love for you. So it's this concept of, come live with me. We can be pirates. We can escape this reality that, like, your dad's always mad and whatever else happens in that household. And you won't have to cry or hide in the closet. We'll just be pirates.
Doesn't he also have a line about India? Like we could go to
We'll,
India. We'll
we'll move
move
to
to India
India.
forever.
Yep. Yeah,
This
and
one's
then
this one's weird because like I feel like Seven is such an outlier on this record because which I love that it's included in this specific one because it gives it some like galvanization,
mhm,
which is just using a really big word for no reason. But it's about childhood, which I think like a lot of this album is not childhood,
mhm,
though it's about like scary themes of childhood, like abuse and things like that. But it did when I was listening to it and like going over the themes of this album, it felt very much like an outlier. And I love that this new take on this album gives this song a better puzzle piece like cut to fit.
yeah,
So I think that's really cool.
it's like escaping into your childhood innocence.
Hmm.
All right, the next song we have, Epiphany. So the concept that I thought of was escaping the realities and horrors of war and plague. Escaping into a dream almost. So the lyrics, some things you just can't speak about, only 20 minutes to sleep, but you dream of some epiphany. And the real kicker line, just one single glimpse of relief to make some sense of what you've seen. I think when I read the definition of escapism, I think that this song perfectly encapsulates what that is.
I think it's also interesting because I think it goes well. Yeah, you say horrors of war and plague, but it also works perfectly with COVID because we are all losing our minds,
Well, like a
trapped.
plague.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trapped in this house and just trying to escape this back to reality, like to
Hmm.
normalcy. So that's the one thing I think. Epiphany is such an interesting song because I think it dances between those two themes, war and plague, so well. But I also never hear the lyrics. I've read the lyrics a million times, but I still never hear her say anything about like healthcare, which
Mm.
there are lines specifically pointing out healthcare, but I never hear them because I don't know if it's the way she sings them, but they just get lost with me. But I do, again, it's just cool to see this another song that could kind of be on the cusp of what the rest of this record's about, and just being pulled in by this theme that like overarcs over everything that we completely missed, and I'm never going to get over that.
All right, the next song we have on here is a Cardigan. So this one was a little tricky for me, but I did some digging into it. So she spends the first half of the song trying to escape the reality of what James did to her by reminiscing about these good times. So it's escaping this betrayal, escaping to yourself. And really, the lyrics that I pulled immediately was our favorite, leaving like a father, running like water. But she spends the whole first song, reminiscing about these good times, dancing in your Levi's, drunk under a streetlight. And then at the end of the song, she goes, I knew you'd linger. I knew I'd be chasing you. I knew I'd be doing all these things. I knew you'd come back to me.
God, I just want to listen to the song again. It's so
Mm-hmm.
good. Um, oh no, I just love this song so much.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me too of like just escaping memories in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are some memories, and like we've been talking about this song for a while now. We did 2 whole episodes on it, but like one of the things that we mentioned was how like Betty is we surmise that we think it's like 20 years or like very much later, like she keeps coming back to this memory. And what if she just wants to stop? Like there are some memories like I can think of, at least in my experience, I'm sure you and our listeners can think of things where it's just like one day late at night you're getting ready for bed, pops in your head and you're like, no, like stop, like I just want to move on. And trying to escape from that, from maybe just like she's confronting it this time and actually hoping that like confronting it will make it actually stop and go away. But I hope it doesn't, because then we'll get more songs like it.
Maybe. All right, the next one I'm a big fan of, Mirror Ball. So the concept is becoming someone else to fit in, escaping someone's idea of you, escaping your reality. And I think it's, like we said, the anxiety anthem. I can change everything about me to fit in. I really like this interpretation of hush. I know they said the end is near, but I'm still on my tallest tiptoes.
Ooh.
It's a fact of like, hey, I know this is bad. I'm trying to escape this reality. Like I know it's happening, but please don't tell me it's happening. I'm still dancing on my tiptoes. I'm still a believer and I don't know why. And then the bridge, when they send home the horses and the rodeo clowns, I'm still on that tightrope. I'm still trying to everything to get you laughing at me. It's like this reality where it's like she doesn't want to accept this idea, so she's trying to change herself to fit in and to still be on someone's mind. It's like I'll escape myself to become what you want.
No, I love that. And like, and it also shows like there is this escapism of like this song and you really see it in the bridge, but this song jumps back and forth between reality and not reality, where you see like this kind of zany, when they sent home the horses and the rodeo clowns, it's like, all right, when did we come to a circus? And stuff like that, like these crazy images, and then just to a mirror ball, and then it's just like a very stripped down, just like it. Half the time it feels like a normal conversation happening between one person and another late at night, like those those deep conversations you have when you maybe had a little bit too much to drink or you're just too emotional. And I know I've had a lot of those before, and then it goes through like what's going on in your mind that's like crazy, like these horses, rodeo clowns, like all this stuff that's going on. This one I'm still trying to figure out. But gosh, I'm still trying to get everything to get you laughing at me as much as I can. Gosh, that line is so good.
And then we come to our last song off of the playlist album, whatever you want to call it, which is Exile. So the concept of escaping a relationship that isn't there anymore, escaping a failed relationship. So I'm leaving at the side door. This one was also one that I was kind of trying to decipher, but I think it's just the idea of, this relationship isn't here. I'm leaving. I'm trying to escape the reality that it's not here anymore. But then you're confronting it at the end where they're going back and forth with each other.
No, yeah, like that's the whole thing where she says like I think I've seen this film before. It's like I've been making excuses for the things that you've been doing for years or however long, and nothing's changing. I've seen this before. You'll come back, you'll make the same like apology that you made. I'm gonna forgive you. Same stuff will happen. Blah blah blah. And then I do love the line that you pointed out, the song leaving out the side door, because that just has like such a and I think this is our next song we're doing a breakdown about. But I love the idea of like she can't she knows if she tries to leave out the front door, he'll stop her and like there'll be a whole thing. So she just has to sneak out, and she has to get out on her own. And
Definitely.
then you get the like exactly what you said, the end where they have like that, they're singing over each other and everything.
Sounds like they're having a musical argument.
Ooh.
All right, so those are the 6 songs and then our explanations of them. So what comes next? So there's a lot of theories floating around. One that I read was there's going to be 4 chapters because of the prologue that she said with like the beginning of the album. It says, picking up a pen was my way of escaping into fantasy, history, and memory. So people were like,
Interesting.
oh, escapism. Is it going to be
Ooh.
fantasy, history, and memory? And I think with history, you know, Last Great American Dynasty could fit into there. But here's the thing, like, we don't know if it's going to be,
Overlapping.
are there going to be overlapping songs? Yeah, because memory, I mean, Epiphany could be a memory.
Epiphany could be
Seven,
history.
Seven could be a memory. The
And
only
that's the
thing,
thing is we only have 16, 17 songs to work with. So if we already
mhm,
have 6 out, to me, it makes sense just from a storytelling perspective to have beginning, middle, and end.
mhm,
And usually a rule of 3 is generally what it works. So I didn't even think about this, but I always just assumed we were going to get another chapter of 6 and then a chapter of 5 or something
mhm,
along those lines. Because a chapter of 3 after we just did a chapter of 6
mhm.
seems weak. But then again, we went back and forth trying to figure out what we thought they could be, and it was hard coming up with more than 4 more with just those. So if it overlaps, it makes it a lot easier. But
Exactly. I know we said that a possible theme could be defamation with the Last Great American Dynasty, Mad Woman, My Tears Ricochet.
yeah, I think I I remember like when we were going through this, you were like, it has to be a big word because it's escapism. So it has to be like a high concept. It can't be something like she's done before. Because she might have had a song that like dealt with escapism in one way or the other, how Out of the Woods, Wonderland, things like that. But nothing that was like literally stitched into an album.
Mhm,
Um, and I think she's going for more high concept things in this one, and I
mhm,
think defamation is one that she's been wanting to tackle for a while because it's just something that's just constantly happening to her. um so I think Last Great American Dynasty hits on that perfectly with she's just defending Rebecca Harkness more or less and herself with all of
mhm.
the crap that she had to go through. Mad Woman is every lyric in that is battling defamation. And then My Tears Ricochet, like there's the wishing I stayed, like all of the lines in there that kind of like tie
Her
back to it.
being dead, just the concept
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
death.
just like her being dead and being like, you guys killed me,
Uh,
like
I wonder if you can argue illicit affairs in there too, just
I
for the
was
fact
thinking
of
that.
don't call me kid, don't call me baby, like don't try
Mm,
to like make this something that it's not, like, because it's an affair. I mean, an affair could be something that causes defamation,
oh
but
yeah.
it's the other side of it, so that
Well,
could
it's like meeting in
potentially.
parking lots.
Mm-hmm,
Like that's uh, I don't know. I might have thought about this a couple of times, but to go into a history lesson, that's the whole thing with I think it was gosh, I'm gonna be wrong though. I think it was Watergate, but there's the informant Deep Throats uh was like the one who was informing on, I think it was Nixon, and it was all in like meetings in parking lots, and it was
mm,
meant to, well, appropriately defame the president for the scandals that he was going through. So I think, yeah, I 100% think that illicit affairs could work in there. I think I initially said August, but I'm not
mm.
sure. I might have said that for something else.
You did that for I think the
The
concept of
next one.
destiny, yes.
Yeah.
So
So if we want to go
potentially
on that one.
destiny with also the Last Great American Dynasty, Invisible String, August.
Yeah, Last Great American Dynasty again just makes sense. It was destiny that Taylor Swift took over this house that was so like universal to her. Like the story just lines up so well
Hmm.
that it just feels like destiny. Invisible String is destiny on a stick or on
Yeah.
a string. And then I think we talked about August a little bit, but my reasoning for including August specifically in this one was just like the line "You're not mine to lose." It was just like hold on for the hope of it all. Like, but at the end of the day, no matter how this shakes out, it was never going to be you and me.
Mm.
And I think, and while that's not the happy-go-lucky destiny, it's still a form of destiny if it's not the one you want.
Well, she says in that essay, and I'm going to say it wrong because I don't have it in front of me, but she talks about an invisible string tying someone to fate for a good reason or bad, like for good or for
Mm-hmm.
bad. Like she says that. And I was thinking about it and I'm like, the concept of we don't really see fate being tied in a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be, the opposite side of fate, what you want to happen, but you can't fight fate.
Yeah, I like that. I like
Mm-hmm.
that a lot
Yeah.
because, and that's true. Like at the end of the day, you can't have just it can't just be good fate. Like there's gonna be fate that you didn't want, or like stuff like that, because that's how fate works. It's two sides of a coin. And
All
then
right.
you had what I think is definitely going to be one.
I hope so. I hope I
I
get
hope
it right.
so. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't be shocked if we got all of this completely wrong. But if we get one of them right, I want it to be this one.
So this concept of longing. So we have August, Betty, illicit affairs, hoax, and peace. So with August, you know, you weren't mine to lose. You're longing for this love. You want it to be, you know, you're doing the Meredith Grey, pick me, choose me, love me kind of speech. Betty, you know, he's just longing to have his one back. He's longing for Betty. Illicit affairs, you're just longing for this to, you know, and you know damn well I would ruin myself a million little times. It's like, you know, I would do this for you. You have hoax, don't want no other shade of blue but you, no other sadness in the world would do. And then peace, like, would it be enough if I can never give you peace? It's like your integrity, like just all these things that tie you to this person.
God,
You know that I'd sit with you in the trenches, give you my wild, give you a child. It's all these things of like longing for that person.
one of these days, and it'll probably have to wait until we do the song breakdown, you're gonna tell me what that lyric means, because I have no idea.
Which one?
Give me your or give you my wild, give you a child. We don't have to go into it now, but I swear I've asked you like 3 or 4 times what that means, and we have always gotten sidetracked, and you've gone on to something else.
We'll talk about that during the breakdown.
Yeah, you gotta think on that one, because I have no idea what that could mean.
I have like a theory, but we'll get into it later.
Okay, all right.
And then these last two were concepts that you pulled on me with independence versus dependence. So songs relaying independence could be The One, Mad Woman, Last Great American Dynasty, My Tears Ricochet, and August. If you want to explain that.
Yeah, so the only reason I kind of gravitated towards this like dichotomy of independence versus dependence, one, I do think it's something that Taylor has done a lot, which could actually go against what we just said, or what I just said earlier, where she's trying to do things she hasn't done before. But I think independence and dependence are just some things that she has been like arguing back and forth on all of her songs and albums, where you see her going from like Speak Now, like, and Red, like very dependent on the person she's dating, to like Reputation, where and even Lover in a lot of cases, where it's you're there but I'm my own person without you kind of thing. And I think like The One, like it would have been nice if you would have been the one, but you're not, and it's just me, and you know what, it's not that bad. A very independent song. Mad Woman, extremely independent song. Last Great American Dynasty, there's the man in the story dies immediately, as he should. No.
Okay.
Tear down the patriarchy. Anyway. No. Last Great American Dynasty is like all about independence, and like and Rebecca being her independent woman, and Taylor being the same thing. My Tears Ricochet, her losing her record, her discography, and like going out on her own. You killed me, but you killed yourself too. Like I'm my own person now.
I can also the line I can go anywhere, just not home.
I was gonna say, I knew if I brought up anything My Tears Ricochet, you would have the line for me. And then August is just like I said, like, you're not mine to lose. Like, you know what, at the end of the day, I wanted this more than anything else, but it's just not meant to be, and I have to move on to kind of an independence thing. And then you get to dependence, where it's illicit affairs, where you kind of get the opposite of that. You get the bridge of illicit affairs that says things along like, you show me colors I can't see with anyone else. You taught me a secret language I can't speak with anyone else. Like, those are dependencies. Those are I built How I Met Your Mother has a great joke of the tree that grows around another tree, and it can't exist without that tree. And that's kind of what reminds me of illicit affairs. Like, she knew she was an affair from the get-go, because it started in Beautiful, or maybe she didn't know from the get-go, but she eventually knew it. But she still built this dependency on this person, because you don't get a resolution that you get in August. Invisible String is just dependent. Like, it could kind of flop both ways, but just because of how romantic it is, the string is a dependence in some ways. Betty, James is hell-bent that Betty is the one.
Mm-hmm.
She will take me back. I am sorry. It was always you, blah, blah, blah. Peace, I could talk for 6 hours about peace, and I have, but I can't wait for that episode to get here. And then Hoax, the same thing of just like we both said, they kind of fit the longing descriptions too, and like longing kind of marks on dependence as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they could be it. I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't. But the one thing about the last three, longing, independence, and dependence, they are long, like the ones that have the most songs in them.
Mm-hmm.
I think they all have 5. Independence might have.
It has 6.
It has 5. It is 6.
Oh no, it's 5.
Yeah, they all have 5. So I don't know which one I'm missing in there. That isn't independence or dependence. It might be. Let me scroll up. This is me trying. That's the one I don't have. Which that could fall under dependence, I think.
I was gonna say, I think dependence.
Could also fall under longing as well, I think. That's the one I don't know the lyrics to that well. But yeah, I think there's some other ones that I've seen floating around that I haven't done a lot of research on, but I've seen stuff of like resignation, acceptance, things along those lines. People have been throwing out a lot of crazy, really interesting, cool theories, and I am here for it.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap it up, just because I said it before and I think it could be interesting, do you think there is a rhyme or reason to the order of the Escapism chapter?
There has to be. There's no way she just clicked shuffle and then put it out. But I can't. I wish I didn't break my arm and had more time to go through this.
With the lakes being the first song, that's
the weirdest part.
The lake seems like it would be an end song, unless she's saying like, unless the lakes is like, take me to the lakes, blah blah blah, and it goes into a flashback where you see 7 is reflecting upon the past, but then it instantly jumps to Epiphany, which is also another flashback.
Like it's hard to find an invisible string tying all of these together. Like, all right. That was really clever, and I'm gonna get a bonus for that.
Because then you have Cardigan immediately or Cardigan before Mirror Ball, but Mirror Ball is such like you can't see Betty or a character being like, oh, I'll do anything to fit in.
Unless I think like, and we're going to do an episode on this one, and I'm very excited about it. But the thing you mentioned from T Swift Conspiracies 13, amazing name, by the way. I guarantee that was just made to post this, but because it's too perfect. But Mirror Ball, I think in their theory was what's her face, the mistress. That was her point of view, which makes sense. So the last 3 make sense together. Okay. Like I can tie a string to them because it can go Cardigan, and then it can go into the mistress and how she feels, and then Exile can just be the end of the James and Betty relationship. In that theory, and I'll touch on it a little bit. In that theory, it says that James is the one that went to war in Epiphany. 7 is Taylor Swift growing up in Pennsylvania, and it's about Taylor Swift starting to like be a part of the story. And then the lakes I don't think is actually mentioned. So it could be she put lakes first because she just released it and she wants to get more people to listen to it. And then it goes into the ones you've already heard. So that's a reason it could be there. It doesn't sound very well, it sounds very marketing Swift, but it doesn't sound very conspiracy Swift.
Yeah.
And then it could just go not chronological, but like Lakes and 7 are also both Swift songs, if that's the case. Lakes is about Taylor Swift. 7 is about Taylor Swift. And then you get Epiphany, James, Betty. It can go James's point of view song about escaping, because he's escaping that relationship to go and going off to war to escape it. Betty escaping the memory of James. Mirror Ball, the mistress escaping that, and then Exile, escape of everything. like the diffusal of everything. I literally just pulled that out of thin air.
I was hoping
Uh,
you would, because I was like, I don't have anything written down, but I want to address
you
it.
know I'm king at just pulling random crap out and coming up with stuff. But honestly, for having pulled that out of my butt, like I like that.
That's
I think
good.
that sounds good. It might
Definitely.
not be, but I mean, I doubt we're gonna get Taylor to come right out and say how, because that
No.
doesn't seem like something she would do. So that's the right way. We've determined it on the We Need to Calm Down podcast. That is how and why that order is the way that it is.
That's it.
If anyone tells you wrong, they're lying. Trademark.
I think that's a good place to wrap up. Do you have any like closing thoughts or anything?
The Lakes is an amazing song.
Yes.
Peace is an amazing song.
Honestly,
Don't
all
break
the
your arm.
songs. Oh. All right. Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. Tell a friend about us. Rate us 5 stars. Let us know.
Follow us on social media. You made me do the social media again. Follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, which is technically social media nowadays, and we're on Twitter at WNTCD Podcast.
Hey.
Right up there. But yeah, give us a tweet, DM us, let us know what you think. We love feedback. If you guys have anything you want to see, or if you just like there's something you really like about the show you want us to keep doing, or something you're not even that fond about, you think we should change or have an idea of a different way we could approach things, let us know. We want to keep improving on the show and making better content that you guys want to consume.
Exactly. And also, just on the subject of YouTube, make sure to subscribe, tell your friends. We're so close to hitting 30 subscribers. And when we do, we're going to have some embarrassing content of me in 7th grade. So definitely, I did not hit my peak in 7th grade, but subscribe, tell a friend, leave a comment. We always appreciate those. Thank you so much.
Yeah, come back. We'll be here.